Unexpectedly, in the next second, the killer cut off her ear directly, and Ai-jin screamed in pain. She then shouted angrily out the window, declaring that no one could take her child away. At that moment, she desperately wished A-Chang would appear. At this moment, Ai-jin heard a scream outside the house. Through the gap, she saw Sister Jin lying on the ground with a car starting behind her. Seeing Sister Jin's utterly desperate look, Ai-jin really couldn't bear it and opened the door. At this moment, the murderer was slowly driving the car. Just as the car was about to approach Sister Jin, the murderer beckoned with his finger at Ai-jin, indicating for her to come over to him, otherwise he would run over Sister Jin. Ai-jin did not want Jinjai to die because of her, so she finally walked with heavy steps to the side of the killer. The killer perversely stroked Ai-jin's abdomen. However, Ai-jin had already thought of a strategy.
Ai-jin, Mom!
Ai-jin's actions completely angered the killer, who then stepped on the gas and drove straight over Sister Jin's head. Ai-jin was so shocked she was dumbfounded, but fortunately, she didn't go weak in the knees. Seeing the murderer get out of the car, Ai-jin quickly ran back inside. When it got dark, the short-haired girl finally woke up from her unconsciousness. At this moment, a police car happened to arrive outside, and Ai-jin hurried out to call for the police's help, but unexpectedly, there were no police officers inside the car. Ai-jin realized that something was wrong, so she hurriedly decided to return inside, but unexpectedly was taken hostage by the killer and brought inside. At this moment, the recently awakened short-haired girl was still feeling dizzy. She picked up a dagger beside her, intending to confront the murderer. Just then, the injured police officer suddenly appeared, warning the other person with a gun to release Ai-jin. Unexpectedly, the killer obediently complied. As the police officer cautiously approached the killer, the next moment, the officer's throat was pierced by a knife. It turned out the short-haired girl was an accomplice of the killer. However, what was even more unexpected was that when the murderer took off the hood, standing in front of Ai-jin was her own Unfa. Yes, in fact, the short-haired girl is not even Ai-chang's sister. The two of them are true soulmates, and Ai-jin is merely their reproductive machine. Watching Ai-jin's bewildered expression, the two of them burst into hysterical laughter. Ai-jin took the opportunity to pick up the police officer's gun and escaped, but just as she got into the car to flee, the car was sabotaged by Ai-chang and couldn't start. Furious, Ai-jin got out of the car, holding the gun at Ai-chang, demanding he hand over the keys to the other car. Ai-chang was worried that the handgun might accidentally go off, so he had no choice but to agree to Ai-chang's demand. Ai-jin picked up the keys that were thrown on the ground, then found Ai-chang's car, and quickly left. Unexpectedly, the car had not yet traveled a kilometer when Ai-chang reported the car stolen. The system indicated that the engine would shut down soon, so Ai-jin had no choice but to get out of the car. He endured the pain from contractions while walking on the road, and had to stay alert for Ai-chang's sneak attacks. Just then, Ai-jin saw a car approaching in the distance. Ai-jin immediately waved his hands to signal, in order not to be suddenly dragged into the small woods by Ai-chang. Ai-chang pointed a gun at Ai-jin's head, and covered his mouth. Once the other car left, Ai-chang finally let go, but the next second, a lot of amniotic fluid flowed from Ai-jin's lower body, so Ai-chang took him back to the cabin again. The short-haired girl personally first Ai-jin delivered the baby. It turned out that the short-haired girl was infertile, so she wanted to claim Ai-jin's child as her own. Once Ai-jin successfully gave birth to the child, the short-haired girl asked Ai-chang to get rid of Ai-jin. As long as he was alive, he posed a threat to them. But Ai-chang suddenly began to hesitate, because this was not part of their plan. But short-haired girl reminded him that if they didn't kill Ai-jin, they would spend the rest of their lives in prison. She left Ai-chang to figure out what was more important. So short-haired girl got in the car with the child, leaving all the mess for Ai-chang. Hearing the screams from inside the house, it was clear that Ai-jin was enduring inhuman torture. Not long after, Ai-chang returned to the car. He sighed, expressing that he couldn't bring himself to end Ai-jin's life. The short-haired girl was very angry upon hearing this. Just as she was about to get out of the car to deal with Ai-jin herself, Ai-chang placed two eyeballs in front of her.
他现在没办法从人群中认出我们了。
Then the two drove away, leaving Ai-jin alone in the cabin.
The above is the United States in 2022. Horror movie, Pregnancy Panic.
The entire content, the overall plot of the movie, is relatively simple, and the original film's values are quite shocking. The leading actress's acting is pretty good. This film is considered a good piece among low-budget horror films, so interested friends can check out the original film. Alright, that's it for today's sharing. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.